booth with me. Lane is the CEO and founder of The Project Booth. And from what I know of Lane, I will let you introduce yourself. But from the reason I invited Lane to come talk to us today is because she is brilliant with numbers and in a lot of different respects. And so I'm thinking today of my friends in the retail industry who have inventory. And also, we're going to also be talking today about something that Lane calls leading indicators. And I'm going to, this is something you're going to want to pay attention to today, especially right now. So the hope, Lane, out of our conversation today is that we are giving the businesses who are experiencing this pandemic right now some kind of hope that this is not, that there are things that we can do right now, and it's not hopeless. So would you mind introducing yourself to anyone who's watching?
Absolutely. Hey guys, I'm Lane Booth, owner and operations, all about really scaling your business for small business owners. And we're, the Project Booth, as Casey mentioned, me and my team really love, locking arms with folks and helping them figure out from a data perspective how to actually grow and scale their business. So we want to get you out of, making decisions from your gut and really couple that not only with your brilliant creative intuition, but actually what's the data behind it so you can make even better decisions for your business going forward.
Fabulous. And at the end, if anybody is interested, so Lane has a lot of resources for people that I want you to have access to. So at the end, we will give you a chance to connect with her because you will want to do that. So Lane, I was hoping today, what I'm seeing out there right now is there's three scenarios for some businesses, given the situation we're in right now. And the first scenario is it might be business as usual for some, or in some cases where I'm seeing some businesses who have just exploded right now. And then the third scenario is that we're crashing and burning. And so I was wondering if you, I saw that you did a video in your Facebook group the other day on inventory. And I was wondering if there's any advice you have for folks who are in the inventory business and something they can be watching for or doing right now.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think I even titled it, "What Happens When Coronavirus Sucker Punches Your Inventory."
That's what it was.
Yes. Yes. So for a lot of folks that have product businesses right now, a lot of you probably are sourcing goods from China in some capacity. So whether that's, the whole piece, production, shipping over to you in your warehouse, or if you have a piece of the pie and piece of the goods that are being manufactured. Like I had a call the other day with someone that their fabric for their apparel was stuck in China and couldn't even get it over here to finish the manufacturing process. Other folks and actually we're kind of seeing things like it really depends on where your products are right now. We have some folks that are back up and running, and a lot of and a couple cases they were shut down in January anyway for Chinese New Year, and so that piece is up and running for one of our clients. So she's still able to put her production orders through, and that's still coming through just fine. Others do have like fabric stuck somewhere, and so honestly, the great thing about this time is that people are getting creative. This is stuff that's going to happen in your supply chain anyway. It might not, it's being truncated, it's being, squashed and, shoved in front of our faces right now because everyone's experiencing it at the same time. But I guarantee you, if you're a product business, this stuff is going to happen to you at some point in time. So might as well learn right now on what to do about it. So
yes.
I guarantee it. It's like, you know what? You need an umbrella because at some point it's going to rain. We don't know when, right?
Right.
But it's going to happen at some point in time.
Yes, it is. And I might even, you tell me if you ever see this happening, but my prediction is that this whole thing has kind of been a domino effect where you see something happening in one location and then the fallout for us, so it's happening in China and the fallout for us is not happening until 2 or 3 months later. And so I am predicting that that whatever is happening today is still going to be impacting us months down the road in some respects, and we just don't know how. And so do you have suggestions for folks? Like, do you have like one tip that they can do, like you said, to be prepared for if it's happening to them now or at some point in their business with these issues?
Yeah, in case I feel like one of the biggest things that most people miss is really getting an idea together on what good looks like and what bad looks like. So, great example right now. What if your business continues to double? So, for those that are seeing skyrocketing sales right now, what if that continues? Let's, see how high is high in that scenario. And then for those that are low, how far low do you think it could go? And what are those creative things that you can do to try to lift that back up as much as possible? So you really want to kind of give yourself some guardrails in your business to just get the biggest thing that's really impacting people isn't their business, it's the uncertainty.
Yes.
So if you can at least give your brain a good idea of, all right, how high or how low could this thing go? Then you start to say like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I do X, Y, Z. Or if that's the case, then I do A, B, C, whatever it is. And so getting clear perspective on that right now, I feel like it's the number one place to start.
Absolutely. Yes, as a strategic planner, I could not agree with you more. This is not the time to be reacting to the market, and this is the time where, like you said, play those scenarios out and have a plan. Have more than one plan, but just have a guide that you can use. So as you see things start to happen, you can use that guide to make good decisions rather than irrational or emotionally based decisions. It's based on the information. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I did want to add too, like for those of you that are skyrocketing right now, like support your customers as much as possible. Like, do what you can to get the inventory here, do what you can to provide something for them. Just knowing that, this might be a bit of a bubble and you need to have a plan in place for what if it does slow down and you've got, 6 months worth of inventory sitting there or whatever that number is.
Absolutely. Yes, because both scenarios are not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a minute. And so before we were talking to businesses with inventory or retail or product-based businesses, but now let's talk to everybody. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't talk to me on a regular basis, I'm a huge fan of the entrepreneurial operating system. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I highly recommend every business be reading that book right now, because this is the businesses that have read that book, the book Traction by Gino Wickman. The businesses who are using that system right now are going to be in better condition than businesses who are not using some sort of framework for managing your business and your teams. So in the book, the framework uses something called scorecards to predict future success and to hold people accountable. And really what a scorecard is, it's your leading indicators. And Zane, that's my son's name. My son is Zane, my brother is Lane, and then we have Lane. Okay, so Lane, I almost did it again. Lane.
I've been called other things, it's fine.
Lane is brilliant with helping businesses discover those leading indicators. Can you talk about those, Zane? I'm sending
Cassie, no problem.
Good one. I spend all day yelling at my youngest, so that's why it's top of mind right now. Can you help us understand, Lane, what leading indicators are and how we can identify them in our business?
Very good. It's an excellent question. And honestly, when most people talk about the numbers in their business, they're thinking of their accountant's numbers.
Yeah.
They're thinking of the numbers in QuickBooks or wherever, or the P&L. There's so much more to that because honestly, we're talking about leading indicators, but those are the lagging indicators.
Yes.
Dollars are the last thing that happen in your business, right? You want to figure out what's happening before that. I call them they're really like the breadcrumbs that are leading you to the dollars at the end of the day in your business. And so we kind of have to peel back the layers like, all right, well, how do we get this sale? All right, what's the thing that happens before that? And what's the thing that happens before that? And what's the thing that happens before that? All of those other pieces are those leading indicators. A great example might be, for someone that's in a service-based business that offers a service or a program or something like that. Maybe they run ads, and then maybe they have an email list, and then maybe they have phone calls that get booked, and then people become a customer. So the phone calls, the ad metrics, the email lists, those metrics tied around those three things are your leading indicators to how much revenue you're going to produce at the end of the day. And so, a lot of people are like, I see, they have this understanding that, hey, maybe I should look at my email open rates or my click rates. But they don't really know what to do with them or how good they should be. And that's the piece that we really dive into and help explore with our clients, because it really is, I tell people, I kind of want you to forget the benchmarks. I want you to focus on your numbers. Your numbers tell a story for your business. And yeah, there might be some benchmarks out there to strive to, but you've got to get really good foundation on what's already happening in your business.
Yes.
That's the best place to start.
Absolutely. And it's okay to play around with those numbers a little bit to see what works for you. So if you think you've identified a leading indicator and you're finding that that's not working, then maybe that's not really your true leading indicator. But
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Lane to talk about this today because I think a lot of us are in a place where we are being reactionary right now, and that's okay too. I mean, we're all in an unprecedented situation. It's very stressful, but if we can use this opportunity to figure out how to be more proactive in our businesses, and so we're responding instead
Mm-hmm.
of reacting. And by responding, that means that we've already thought about this situation and we already have a plan or a strategy to approach it. So, and we might be, some of us might have less time. We might have less people right now. And so whatever we're doing in our business has to be very smart and very strategic. So knowing what your end game is, it's always revenue, right? Or profit or
Mm-hmm.
some kind of number like that. But everybody on your team in some way plays a part in getting you to that revenue or profit number, and figuring out what those activities are that your people are doing that are eventually down the road leading to that profit is really important to stay focused on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Lane, I have referred a lot of my clients to you because you make my job a lot easier. And I'm wondering if you have a way for folks to um, get in contact with you or follow some of your amazing tips. And I know you have some free webinars out there even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The best place to go to find out more is at our website, theprojectbooth.com. And there's a link to book a call if you are like, hey, let's talk about this. I am struggling in my business right now. And whether that's struggling to the good, struggling to, the bad, whatever that is, then we can help bring that clarity and that strategic eye to your business. And so it always starts with a free initial consult. So there's a place to book a call there. And then you'll also see we do have some master classes available, specifically, what we just talked about with those KPIs, those key performance indicators, and how that really does impact not only your team, but your time and your profits. So that's one of my favorite trainings that we've done that I highly recommend checking that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lane is always someone I think of when I'm working with a client who we may have revenue dialed in at that point, but Lane is really the person I see that steps it up a little bit, not even a little bit, actually a lot, but steps it up so that we're actually looking at the profitability of the business and not just the revenue. And so I think you had a summit recently that was scaling to your next million. So I highly recommend checking Lane out. And Lane, I know how busy you are, so I'm so appreciative you agreed to stop by today.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
and I'm gonna be turning this video into a blog post too, so it will be hanging out on the interwebs, for an indefinite period of time. So thank you so
Love it.
much, Lane. All
My
right.
pleasure, Casey.